What's up, everybody? All right, I have been getting a lot of comments saying, "What's going on? Where's the updates to the Chris Craft? Are you guys okay? I'm just checking in to make sure you're okay. You haven't done a video in a while." Well, I'm going to tell you what's been going on with me and why I haven't been putting out videos. The first thing is that I'm a little bit pissed at YouTube. The first video I put out on the Chris Craft Stinger took off like crazy and I made almost no money from it. The reason is a glitch in YouTube's copyright system. So I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning of that video, I used like a 30-second clip of the original Miami Vice boat with text scrolling across it explaining why the Chris Craft Stinger is worth restoring and why it's a notable boat and its historic place in movie boat history. Now that is defined as fair use, and I didn't do anything wrong. In fact, to check it, when I was editing the video, I uploaded the video when it was rough cut, and it flagged immediately by NBC or whoever, I forget who owns the rights to Miami Vice, but it flagged it immediately, and I had to click, appeal, no, I am using this for educational purposes. I'm explaining why this boat is important. I'm not using the fictional characters. This is not going to be confused for an episode of Miami Vice. It's not the thing. And right away, YouTube was like, bloop, like 15 minutes later, free to go. You're good, dude. You're good. So, I finished editing the video and I uploaded it. And I wanted to launch it Sunday because most of the time my videos come out Sunday. The same thing happened as soon as I uploaded it. It flagged it immediately, and I responded right away and said, no, this is educational. I said the same thing, the same freaking thing, and nada. So I Googled it, and everyone was like, you know what, if you're in the clear, just publish it anyway. It'll get figured out because if there's any issue, it's going to hold all the funds generated from the video in escrow, and once it's cleared up, you will get the money back in your account. So I launched the video, and I didn't hear back from them for about a week and a half, and then they said, denied, nope, you're using our copyrighted material, even though it was the same fucking thing that I used in the rough edited video. And so I had to go through an appeal process, and that took forever. Eventually, it was ruled in my favor, but I made barely any money on that video. It has over 100,000 views with great retention, and I made less than $200 on that video. For comparison, the other videos I put out on the Chris Craft, I've made $600 to $800 each. Now, I am not doing YouTube full-time. I have a very diversified lifestyle right now because I don't want to work for another toxic cunt again in my entire life. Now, I can say that because I'm not naming names or companies, but I will say that working for other people when they're assholes and they know less about boats than you and they just hold you down the whole time you're working for them, and then they lie about you, and they take credit for the great things that you do, but when they can't make a decision, they shift blame to you. I'm pretty fed up with that, and I don't want to do that again. I only want to work for myself, so. Now, some of you guys know this, some of you don't, but I've been an industrial designer for almost 2 decades. Now, what is industrial design? A lot of people don't know what it is. They hear the word industrial and they immediately think of industrial equipment. Nope, not really. What you need to think of is like a car stylist, someone who like draws the cars and then eventually that car gets made. Well, that's the same process that happens for everything that is mass produced, from engine parts to bicycles to power tools to medical equipment. And at this point in my career, I have over 25 patents and almost 2 decades of experience. And it's not just drawing. I mean, I have to draw, and I have to CAD model, and I have to prototype. I need knowledge of ergonomics on the human body. I need knowledge of manufacturing and all the different ways you can produce something. I need knowledge of tons of different materials, and based on the volume or the expected sales of a product and the annual amount that they're going to be produced, I use my knowledge base to choose different materials and manufacturing processes, and I try to work with engineering and make products that are beautiful, easy to use, easy to service. And at this point, I probably have 25 patents, and again, almost 2 decades of experience, and I cannot find a job anywhere. And the reason that the industrial design market is so freaking cooked is a few things. One, the big elephant in the room is AI. Now anybody can be a designer, allegedly. Now they won't have the knowledge of the materials or the ergonomics, nor will they know anything about manufacturing. But you can just go to an image generator and type in cordless drill project, make it cool looking, and it'll just spit out images. And that has really devalued my skill set from the position of people that don't know what good design is, and they don't understand the difference between manufacturing versus just AI generated nonsense. And the problem with that is that when you're applying for a job, you're not getting reviewed by anyone with any knowledge in that space. In fact, the job application process itself is one of the things I've gotten so completely frustrated with, because not only is the process stupid, like you have to find a job and then you upload your resume and your cover letter and your portfolio, and then you have to type it all again. Even though you uploaded it, they want you to type it all. So then you can do an ATS formatted resume, which will break it down, but it never works perfectly. You always have to make adjustments. And that's been really frustrating, because you're not being reviewed by a real person. You're being reviewed now by AI. And AI cannot tell what a good portfolio looks like. You could have the best portfolio in the world, but no one's going to see it, because the application process is just being read by bots, and they're just looking for keywords in your resume and your cover letter, and those keywords they're pulling from the job description. So right now, this is what you need to do when you're looking for a job. And if you have a job right now, I'm telling you, hold the fuck onto it, boys, because it is a completely different landscape than even just a few years ago, and it's really, really, really bad. So to start, the job listing that you're reading was probably created by AI. So it doesn't really know what it's talking about, but HR people in corporate generally don't know what they're talking about, so I guess that's kind of a wash. What you're going to need to do is you're going to need to copy and paste the job description into ChatGPT. Then you need to take your resume and your cover letter and paste that into ChatGPT, and you need to say, rewrite my resume, rewrite my cover letter, based on this job description. So at this point, you're now creating a unique cover letter and a unique resume for that job, which you then download and create 2 more documents to upload to never be heard from again, because it's all just a joke. Because 60% of job postings are not real. They don't exist. They're either companies basically gathering information and selling it. They're collecting your personal data and then selling it to other companies, or they're corporations that don't have a position available, but they like to backfill roles so that if one of their employees makes too much money, they can get rid of them and call someone else. And it's just so frustrating. It's such a dumb experience that I don't really feel like participating in it. And the big thing, the biggest reason that I am fed up with industrial design is that HR and corporate doesn't know what that term is, and they have been using the wrong words for so long that it's just mind-bogglingly stupid. And the way I put it is, all right, I'm an industrial designer, aka product designer. I design products that are produced, in factories. Well, that was great, except for about 4 or 5 years ago, UX UI designers, which is interaction or user interface designers, they didn't like calling themselves UX UI designers. They didn't like calling themselves user interface designers. Instead, they wanted to sound sexier and cooler like me, so they started calling their apps and their 2D bullshit product. Like, we're product designers. We're going to launch the product this spring. Third quarter, the product's doing so good. They're not product designers. But there's a lot of them, because our lives are increasingly based on screens. So all these HR people started typing we're looking for a product designer. And when you read the description, it's not product design, it's user interface design or interaction design. And even if they say interaction design, 99% of the time, it's not solved in real life. It's just pixels. They mean user interface design is what they actually mean. Could I adjust my skill set and my resume and everything to become a user interface designer? Possibly, but I don't like working in 2D. My whole career, I've worked in 3D, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've been really good at it. Like I said, I have a lot of patents, and I don't even know how many products are still being produced from things that I designed. But the whole system has been so dumb that when I search for product design, almost all of the results are useless and not applicable. So I'm unable to search to even find a position that would be appropriate to my skill set. So then you can type in industrial design. Well, the problem there is that a few years ago, engineers didn't feel cool enough, so they wanted to call themselves designers. Yeah, I'm not a mechanical engineer. I'm a mechanical designer. So now, both ends. So product design gone. That's user interface design now, and industrial design. They're actually, most of those jobs are industrial engineering jobs for like creating HVAC systems or, conduit layout in factories or hospitals. So basically, on both ends of the word of the career that I have chosen for my life's career path are completely fucked because HR doesn't know anything and they're using the wrong words. And it's not that I'm not adapting with the times. If you look up the definition, I'm right. They're all using the words incorrectly. They're wrong. They're just making up definitions for the word industrial design. They're making up definitions for the word product. And it's just so frustrating and stupid that I've given up. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do industrial design ever, but at this point, it has to be probably a conversation and the right position or the right opportunity for me because I have wasted I don't know how many hours looking for another full-time industrial design position, and I've given up. So at this point, I have diversified my career into a lot of different side hustles. I have been aerating lawns, which has been very profitable, very fun. I enjoy it. I'm outside. I'm getting nice exercise, and I'm not staring at a screen all day wanting to. And speaking of that, I will say that working in corporate, in some ways, it's really rewarding because you get to produce things that are used around the world, and you're kind of an unsung hero because no one knows who designed the tiller at Mercury. Well, that was me, or who made the controls not suck. Yeah, that was me too. But the problem with corporate is that you're always working under someone else, and if they don't know what they're talking about and you do, you're a threat to them, and they will do whatever they can to make your life hell. And at this point in my life, I don't want to work for anyone else. I will say my experience working corporate, I have met a lot of great people, but I've also met some of the most toxic, horrible people in my life. And unfortunately, they've always been above me. And it doesn't matter how hard you work. It doesn't matter how innovative you are. It doesn't matter how much output you produce. What matters is kissing their asses while they fuck with you. When I was working full-time in some previous positions, I wouldn't say I wanted to end my own life, but I was absolutely miserable because I was waking up early, driving to work when it was dark, staring at a screen in a cave next to a generator the size of a school bus, making the entire room hum, working for a fucking asshole. And I'm not doing it anymore. I'm going to do a million other things. So I've started a small business repairing boats, which has been awesome. I've made a lot of friends and new connections. And I've also been increasing my abilities and skill set in marine repair. So I've been doing that. I've also been wrapping boats. And I've been doing a bunch of other side hustles. But the big thing, though, is that I am completely overwhelmed at the moment. So, getting screwed over by YouTube really pissed me off. And it's just, I need to make sure if I put out a video that it's going to be performing really well or it'll kill my channel. Like if I put out a video that randomly about like rebuilding a carburetor on an ATV or something, most of my subscribers will scroll past it. And what that means is that then it will be shown to even fewer people. And it doesn't matter if my next video is something they want to see, because the previous video I did was scrolled past by a lot of people. So it's kind of annoying because my channel does not have a niche. It's not super focused. I did experiment for 1 year. I only did marine related videos, but I didn't see a huge spike in efficiency. And so now what YouTube is rewarding is it's not the number of views, it's actually the level of engagement. And so if I do a very efficient, to the point video on how to fix something, that's not going to do well. What they want now is YouTube is basically a service to push advertising and advertisements. And so they want people to put out long form content where people are paying attention to it for a longer period of time, because then they can serve viewers more advertising. So the last videos that I put out over the past year, the majority of them have been long form content. And the reality is that it's super hard to put out engaging long form content on a regular basis. Now, are there updates to the Chris Craft? Yeah, definitely. I've been making progress. But would they be a satisfying long format video? No, they would not. So that's why there have been no further updates on the Chris Craft, because I'm waiting to produce a video where people are going to actually enjoy it and watch it for a longer period of time, because YouTube is one of my sources of revenue right now. The other issue that I'm having with my life is that I am spread very thin. I already had too many projects, and then I took care of my dad for a few months and he passed, and I inherited 3 more boats and a bunch of cars, and everything that I got from him was in disrepair. And so I'm now have 11 cars and 7 boats and 6 snowmobiles and an ATV. The biggest thing is that a few videos ago, suddenly I changed locations and I was not here at my house in the woods. I was at my dad's house. And that is another big thing going on with me at the moment. I am trying to figure out a way to afford my dad's house. Now, that is my childhood home. It's been kind of weird being back in the area, but I'm still sleeping in my same bedroom that I had when I was born. And the issue there is that I'm not the sole owner of that house. I've also inherited it with a few siblings, and I need to come up with a way to buy them out. So I am working on it right now, but getting financing when you do not have full-time employment and you're instead just got your fingers in a lot of different pies and you're kind of diversifying your income has been a challenge. So right now I'm in the stage of just raising capital. And like I said, I have way too many cars, way too many boats, way too many things going on. And now I'm spread between multiple properties because I'm the only one nearby. So I'm the one taking care of this property and my dad's property, and it's just spread thin. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to sell things to reduce the number of projects that I have to raise capital so that I can buy that house and have waterfront access in my life as well as my childhood home. Which brings me to the next video that you're probably going to see on this channel about the Jaguar XJ6 Series 1. Now, if you haven't seen any of these videos, highly suggest you look them up. They are going to be right up here. I've got 2 really good videos that I put out on this thing that are longer format. Basically why this car is important, and then what I did to get it back on the road again. But this is going to be on Bring a Trailer soon. It is a Series 1 short wheelbase XJ6 with a manual transmission, which is weird. And it also has triple carbs from an E-Type. So even though XKEs are, $60,000 to $300,000, completely out of my price range, this is mechanically an XKE in a 4-door body. So this is the same engine, same Fuel system, same transmission, same rear end as an XKE in a sedan body, which is why I bought it. I think it's really cool. But man, I have so many other things going on. You can see that I am balls deep in repairing this ATV. Needs to get back on the road so I can keep working. I've also got a bunch of wheels for sale. We've got an engine right there for the Bavaria project, which is the next thing that's going to go under the knife once I get rid of this Jaguar. You can see here we have Danger Zone, which I didn't even fire up this year. It's still winterized, and I probably need to clean it before I put it back in there. But what I've been doing on that is trailer work. I've been cutting off the tongue here. We're going to install a swing away hitch along with a winch and do a couple other things to this boat. And then I'm likely going to be selling this boat again to raise funds for that house. And I've had this boat for, at this point, 15 years, and it's, you know, a huge part of me, but there's also not much left to do on it. Now, I have been looking for an Alpha SS outdrive, but I've been looking for an Alpha SS outdrive for 15 years. And again, I worked at Mercury Marine. I harped on it whenever I got the opportunity that there is a demand for high performance drives for smaller boats, but that fell on deaf ears. I mean, I'm pretty disappointed in the marine industry in general because they really don't seem to care about attainable or affordable high performance boating anymore. That was a big thing when I was a kid. I grew up on that channel and I always saw Bajas and Hydro Streams and Checkmates and cool stuff going by. That's gone. All those boats are gone. The pony cars of the marine world do not exist. There is no more Ford Mustang or Dodge Challenger or Chevy Camaro in the boating world. For some reason, they have decided that the only boats that will be fast and high performance should be exclusively for the ultra wealthy, which is super disappointing because another company that I worked for in the past, which is Harley Davidson, they also didn't care about bringing performance and exciting product that was attainable to younger people and working class families. And instead, they focused on maximizing their quarterly profits by going after boomers and dentists and wealthy people. And that works for a little while until it doesn't. And I think that the marine industry right now is in a similar situation to Harley Davidson when they're just struggling. I mean, I know a lot of people still working in it, and the numbers are not good, dudes. And you know what? I will say that what I was saying the whole time, I still stand by. If they had been producing exciting, attainable product, they probably wouldn't be in the position they're in, but nobody fucking listens to me, so what do I know? The other thing you can see in the background here that I have going on is there is another Honda Insight. This appeared in my driveway for $0, and we need to get to this thing at some point. You can see it still has the engine, but there is a big hole right there where the transmission should be. Underneath that tarp over there is a bad engine with a good transmission. So I want to try to see if I can get this car back together. We're likely going to be selling this one. The Volkswagen Turbo S Beetle that is chipped, that's likely going to be for sale soon. Basically, I'm trying to cut the number of vehicles I have in half. Right now I have 11, and I want to get down to maybe 6 cars. I think that's a reasonable number, because what I have learned in the past few years is that everything goes to hell continuously. There is just a constant state of entropy and things that are working starting to not work. And I just cannot keep up with this many vehicles, even with flexibility and employment. It is just far too many. And I know a lot of you guys really want to see updates to the SST and the CB, as well as the Chris Craft. I do too. I can't wait to get the SST on the water. That thing is going to be an animal. It's so light that I can lift the back of the boat right now. But I just haven't been able to get to it because ever since my dad passed, and probably a little bit before that, I've just been struggling to keep up with everything falling apart around me. That other house is a whole can of worms. I'll probably do a video about it at some point, but that has about 30 years of deferred maintenance. The other things that I'm going to be getting rid of are these guys, which sucks. I mean, I grew up snowmobiling, and I will say that snowmobiling is some of the most fun you can have with your pants on. And the reality is that we don't get much snow anymore. Last year, the trails were open for not even a week around here. Now, in the past, you used to be able to go up north to northern Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula. The past few years up north, the trails haven't even opened either. And it, you know, as amazing as these machines are, you think about the amount of money and time I have invested in these things. You know, not only the machines, but also maintaining them, upgrading them, all the necessary equipment, the gear, and it's a significant amount of money. And at this point, you're lucky if you can use it for 2 weeks. The last good season we had was 2020, where the trails were open almost a month and a half solid. I think it might have been even a little more than that. And that was absolutely incredible. I'm really glad I had them when I did, but you know, again, as things sit, they're just going to fall into disrepair. So I'm trying to fix the things that I own to sell them for the maximum amount of money so that I can raise the money to buy my childhood home without relying on a full-time job where I'm working for someone else, because I really don't want to do that again. I mean, I have had some good bosses in the past. I feel like I'm a really great person to work with, but in my experience, corporate is run by middle management and short-term thinking assholes that love to take credit for things that other people do. They love to shift blame onto anyone else other than themselves when things go wrong. And man, I'm tired, boss. I don't want to do that again. So at this point, it's a really weird point in my life where I'm starting to bet on myself, because one of the things about starting a YouTube channel was something similar. I used to create build threads in all the random forums. I would post pictures and do huge write-ups on all my repairs and restorations, and then PhotoBucket happened, and now all of those build threads are gone. So YouTube has been a way for me to document the things I'm accomplishing, and hopefully it's cumulative, and it builds and it builds and it builds like a snowball effect. And so now I'm trying to do the same thing with a couple other small business ideas, and the goal is that I will not have to have a boss again. So anyway, we do have a bunch of videos coming up soon. I am going to be doing a video on how to title a boat when you don't have the title, which I feel very passionately about. A lot of those older boats are small and light and really fun to drive, which is the complete opposite of new boats. You go into a Sea Ray dealer, the cheapest Sea Ray starts at like $60,000 and can't even crack 50 miles an hour. And it's just, it's a travesty. The video that I'm going to be putting out soon is basically how you can get a title to a boat if you do not have the title. And that's going to be something that's like probably not the most popular video ever, but to me it will be, because hopefully it's going to allow other people out there to save boats that would otherwise go to the crusher. And it reduces the demand for new boats, which suck anyway, so, you know, win-win. I'm also going to be doing a video on the Jag soon with Bring a Trailer. Possibly some other cars are going to be auctioned soon. And I'm going to be doing a video update on the Chris Craft once I have a compelling long format video. Until then, I'm going to keep hustling with all the side things I got going on. But right now, my goal in life is to not work for toxic cunts anymore, work for myself, and spend as much of my life on the water and as much of my life skiing as possible. And I figure if I can ski way more than the average person and go boating way more than the average person, then I am winning at life. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, what you want to see coming up, and what you think of my plans. All right? Till next time, dudes.